ما شاء الله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي جعل الحمد مفتاحا لذكره وسببا للمزيد من فضله ودليلا على آلائه وعظمته، ثم الصلاة والسلام وتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماوات بأحمد وفي الأراضين بأبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل وعلى أهل بيته الأطيبين الأطهرين، سيما أولهم أمير المؤمنين وآخرهم بقية الله في الأراضين، روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء، ورحمة الله على محبيهم ومواليهم وشيعتهم أجمعين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم ملعونين. أما بعد, for the happiness of Hazrat Zahra Marziyah, for the enlightenment of the graves of your marhumin, of the graves of the Shuhada, Ulama and Siddiqeen, for the safety of the followers of Ahlul Bayt around the world, and for the safety and the hastening of the reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam, Arwahun al-Fida, please recite your loudest salawat. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the sake of our azah, for the sake of our mourning for Abu Abdullah, that Ya Allah forgive our sins. Ya Allah forgive the sins of our parents. Ya Allah, those of our parents that are alive, give them long lives. Those of our parents that have left this world, give them a place next to Ali Muhammad in Jannah. O Allah, those who are ill, give them shifa'ah. Those who are in debt, clear their debts. O Allah, keep safe the Shia of Ali Muhammad around the world. O Allah, destroy the enemies of Tashayyu in whichever form they may come. Ya Allah, give victory to the people of Palestine. Ya Allah, destroy the oppressors wherever in the world they are. Ya Allah, give us tawfiq to go on the ziyarat of Abu Abdullah this year and every year. Ya Allah, give us tawfiq for Hajj and Umrah every year. Ya Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time and allow us to be amongst his true muntadhirin, his true waiters, for the acceptance of these du'as and any of the du'as that your brothers and sisters have brought. Please recite another of your loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Yesterday we began our discussion on a narration from Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam in his final moments to his companion Junadah. And the Imam in that first portion was speaking about death, how it is impossible to escape it. You run away from it, you chase the dunya, but the death chases you at every stage. But the human being is unaware. So the Imam says, prepare yourself, prepare your provisions for that lengthy journey. And that journey is so lengthy that that reality that one has to face is so scary that even the Hujjah of Allah is fearful of that moment. Even the Hujjah of Allah that is ma'asum in his every sense of the word, in every action, in his whole wujud, is that isma, but yet he still fears that moment. Amir al-Mu'mineen on the night of the 19th, he's seen going in and out of the house, looking towards the moon. Min qillat zad wa bu'du safar. How small is the provision of Ali, and how lengthy is the journey that he must embark upon. It is that reality that Imam al-Sajjad in Dua Abu Hamza Thumali, he says, فَمَا لِي لَا أَبْكِي. For what reason should I not cry? أبكي لخروج نفسي أبكي لضيق لهدي أبكي لظلمة قبري أبكي لسؤال منكر ونكير إياي أبكي لخروج من قبري أريانا ذليلا حاملا ثقلي على الظهر أنظر مرة عن يميني وأخرى عن شمالي إذا الخلائق شأن غير شأني. Says, for what reason should I not cry? I cry for the moment that my soul will be taken from my body. I cry for the darkness of my grave, the narrowness of my grave, the questioning of Munkir and Nakir. I cry for the moment that I will be taken out from my grave, naked, humiliated, carrying upon my back the burden of my sins. I will look left and I will look right, and no one is concerned with me. Everyone is worried about themselves on that day. That is that reality that we need to go towards. So Imam opens with that, with Junadah. Then the Imam says to him, وَلَا تَحْمِلْ هَمَّ يَوْمِكَ الَّذِي لَمْ يَأْتِي عَلَى يَوْمِكَ الَّذِي أَنْتَ فِيهِ. Says Junadah, do not carry the sorrows of a day that is yet to come while you still live in this day. So many of us carry on our backs the burdens and the anxieties of a day that may come. And so I am consumed by the worry of what might happen, that it paralyzes me in the day that I'm in. And so I'm unable to achieve anything within the day that I'm in for fear of what is to come. And so many people are paralyzed by this fear, constantly worrying. What will happen to me? What will happen to my loved ones after I die? You know, how will I survive today? I've got this job now and it's good, but what's going to happen tomorrow? And so I've just got to be... No one lives in the moment. All of it is about the fear, the anxiety of what is to come. And sometimes that reality will never come. That thing that I have manifest in my mind as the worst case scenario, it doesn't happen. But yet, I am consumed by it. What if I lose my job? I need to have more wealth. I'll amass it. I'll save it in case I lose it. You know, I've heard something on the internet, something's going to go wrong. And so I'm amassing for fear of a day that may come. And so I forget the day that I'm in. And so I forget to live the life that Allah has given me. In the hadith of Mi'raj, in one of the Mi'raj, you know, the Holy Prophet went on over 100 different Mi'raj. The last one that the Quran speaks about being the physical one. But prior to that, over 100 was spiritual Mi'raj. In one of the hadith of Mi'raj, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says to the Holy Prophet, says, Ya Ahmed, I am shocked at 3 groups of my servants. 2 will leave aside because they're not in the remit of this lecture. But he says, I'm shocked at that group of individuals who know that I have provided for them all of their life, and I have provided for them today. And I have never let them starve. I have always clothed them. I've kept a house, a roof over their head. I've provided everything for them. They know that I have provided for them and I am providing for them today, but yet they still worry about tomorrow. Says, I'm shocked at that individual. I'm shocked at those groups of people who are consumed by fear that they have what they have today, they'll lose tomorrow. And that this is something that enters the mind of most people. Oh, what about tomorrow? What about tomorrow? Hatta even Musa alayhi salam, Malikul Maut comes to Musa, says, Musa, time is up. Musa alayhi salam, he says to Malikul Maut, he says, just give me a few moments. let me just bid farewell to my children. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Malik al-Maut, let him. So Musa alayhi salam goes, he bids farewell to his children, embraces them, crying. They say, Father, are you crying because you're about to die? He says, no, I don't fear death. I'm not crying because of death. I'm crying because of what will happen to you after me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals to Musa, sends down Jibra'il, says, go show him. Jibra'il comes to Musa alayhi salam, says, Musa, Allah has ordered me to show you something. He moves his wing and all of existence separates. And they find themselves at the bank of the river. He again moves his wing and the river separates. Underneath all of those thousands of gallons of water is a huge rock. Again, Jibra'il moves his wing, the rock lifts up, and underneath is a small ant-like creature with a small blade of grass in its mouth eating. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals to Musa alayhi salam, says, Musa, I am that Lord that does not forget about the rizq of this small tiny insect. Musa, do you think that I will leave your children? The reality is that it was never us in the first place. All of that worry that I have, all of that pain and anxiety and all of that I carry along in my back, in my mind, thinking, oh, what will happen tomorrow. But that tomorrow may never come. But the fact that I do that is because of one fundamental thing, that I don't have tawakkul ala Allah. I don't have that trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And why is it that we don't have that tawakkul ala Allah? Why is it that I don't have that trust? There's one fundamental reason for it. Because I actually believe that what I have is as a result of my hard work. I believe it. That the degree that I have, the house that I have, the children, the wealth, the car, whatever it is, all of that I'm worried about losing, I actually believe in my heart of hearts that it's because of my hard work. Whereas it's nothing to do with me. If I understand two concepts, then I'll never find myself in this situation. What are the two concepts? The first is the concept of wajibul wujud, and the other is the concept of mumkinul wujud. The necessary existence and the contingent existence. The necessary existence is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the manifester of everything. The one that is mumkinul wujud, contingent in his existence. He only exists because the wajibul wujud exists. If the wajibul wujud was to cease to exist, the mumkinul wujud, the contingent existent, does not exist. The human being that is mumkinul wujud does not have the power to manifest from himself anything. Everything that he has, he draws from the divine names and he manifests in his actions. He draws from a divine name of Al-Basir and he can see. He draws from the divine name of As-Sami' so he can hear. Nothing he has is his own. The mumkinul wujud cannot manifest anything from himself. Rather, the mumkinul wujud takes from the wujud of the wajibul wujud, from the existence of the necessary existence, and then he's able to manifest. Because if I owned everything that I have or that I claim to have, then ask the one that is now old to will back his youth. Can't do it. Ask the one that is now poor that used to be wealthy. Will do the irada, bring back your wealth. Can't do it. Ask the one that is now ill to bring back his health. Will it back into existence. Can't do it. Why? Because it was never yours in the first place. So this my health, my wealth, my children, my house, this ananiya is the reason why I don't have tawakkul, because I believe that it's because of me. But when I realize that I'm just mumkinul wujud, I have nothing of myself. The fact that I'm alive, the fact that I have what I have, the fact that I'm able to do what I do is because Allah is thinking of me. Allah is powering me. The moment He chooses to sever that connection, I cease to exist. Then what do I have to worry about? This is what Amir al-Mu'mineen refers to in Dua Kumain when he says, ظَلَمْتُ نَفْسِي وَتَجَرَّأْتُ بِجَهْلِي وَسَكَنْتُ إِلَىٰ قَدِيمِ ذِكْرِكَ لِي وَمَنِّكَ عَلَيْهِ. The only reason that I'm here is because of your ancient remembrance of me. That's the only reason that I'm here. Because you remember me. And because you remember me and are constantly da'iman all the time giving me that energy, that life force, that existence, I exist. So when an individual understands this, then they have nothing to worry about. Because that God that gave before and that God that is giving now will be the one that will give tomorrow. And so the Imam is saying, Junadah, do not worry about the day that may come. Do not carry the anxiety of a day that may come. While you are in a day itself, while you have a day at your disposal. We worry so much about all of these things in life. But yet, I have nothing to worry about. Because if I can understand that nothing is ever mine, it was never in my control, it was never in my authority, it was never in my ownership. I was just the custodian of it. I was given and it was taken back. And that is the nature of existence. It is fani. Anything that is makhluk has an expiry date. From the moment that you begin, or the moment you enter into this world, the fuse is lit at the other end. And every second that passes by is a second you can't get back, is a moment that you can't pull back, because it's gone. That's why Allah says in the Holy Quran, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. That man, surely man is in loss. What is it that he's losing? He's losing his life force. From the moment that he is born, he is expiring. And so he can't even control when he is to be born or when he is to die. And yet this man has the arrogance to think that everything that he has in between is through his own hard work. And so that's when I become attached to things. That's when the material world becomes dear to me. That's when every single possession of mine, I start to genuinely believe that it is mine. But if I can understand that this day is in the control of Allah, just as the previous day and just as the days to come, then what do I have to worry about? All I need to focus on is doing what is enough to make my Lord happy. And that's not just sitting on the musalla of ibadah and doing ibadah day and night. No, it's when I go out and I work and I earn halal rizq That's ibadah. When I sit with my family and I'm meeting with them and I'm having this good relation with them, that's the ibadah. When I'm meeting with fellow mu'mineen and I'm sitting and I'm embracing them, so all of this is ibadah. What do I have to worry about when I am connected to the wajib al-wujud? If I can draw power from the divine names, if I focus on those divine names, I can draw down from them. So then what do I have to worry about? So the first thing the Imam says to him says, وَلَا تَحْمِلْ حَمَّكَ يَوْمَكَ الَّذِي لَمْ يَأْتِ عَلَيْهِ وَيَوْمَكَ الَّذِي أَنْتَ فِيهِ. He says, do not carry the sorrows of a day that is to come over the day that you are in. What are you worried about tomorrow? Then the Imam says to him, Ya Junadah, وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّكَ لَا تَكْسِبُ مِنَ الْمَالِ شَيْئًا فَوْقَ قُوَّتِكَ إِلَّا كُنْتَ فِيهِ خَازِنًا لِغَيْرِكَ. Says Junadah, no, you will not gain any more than your apportioned sustenance unless you are a treasurer of it for someone else. You are the holder of it for someone else. Otherwise, what you have is what you will get. And there is no power in this world that can take it away from you. What He has destined for you to receive, you will receive. Whether you go and you leave society and you hide out in a cave, it will reach you. Or whether you choose to be amongst the people, it will reach you. Whether you choose to live a godly life or sin, what is apportioned to you will reach you. Anything extra that you make is not yours. You are but the custodian of it for someone else. Someone else is the one that will be the beneficiary of that. And so, do not hoard wealth. Spend it. Imam Ali salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, says, I wonder at the miser. So I wonder at the miser who is speeding towards the very destitution from which he wants to run away from. The miser, the bakhil, he hoards wealth for fear of what? What about tomorrow? What happens if I don't have enough money tomorrow? I don't want to become homeless. I don't want to. Says, I'm shocked at that miser who hoards wealth to run away from destitution, but yet he's running towards that very same destitution and misses the very ease of the life within which he is in. And as a result of it, فَيَعِيشُ فِي الدُّنْيَا عَيْشَ الْفُقَرَاءِ وَيُحَاسِبُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ حِسَابَ الْأَغْنِيَاءِ. He says, as a result of that, he will live in this world like a faqir, like a poor person. But woe unto him, when he enters the grave, they will question him like a rich man. So in this world, he hoarded, wanted to live poor. But when he goes into the grave, they're still going to question him like he was rich. There's no escaping it. So then why hoard? Spend that money. Being a miser is a very lonely place to be. The miser is one of those traits that is hated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a trait that is opposite to the traits of Allah. He is al-ghani. He is the generous that gives. The wealthy that gives. And so every time I give in the way of Allah, I manifest that divine name of Al-Ghani. It's a lonely existence being a miser. Because the miser He doesn't want to do anything with anyone for fear that he will have to spend his wealth. In fact, Imam al-Rada salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, he says, the miser is the one who will not will not accept the invitation to eat from someone for fear that he may have to invite that person to his home as well. This is the miser. Someone will invite him to come and eat. He won't go because, oh no, one day I'm going to have to invite them to my house. But the ghani is the one that accepts the invitation of whoever invites him, in the hope that now that he's accepted this invitation, now he will have a place to stand on to invite that person to his home and feed him. Being a miser is not just withholding your wealth. It is also those that don't want to share their advice or don't want to feed people. It'am at-ta'am, you look at the ahadith that we have in regards to feeding other people, feeding mu'mineen. Hatta even Yawm al-Ghadir, look at the riwayat, the one that feeds another mu'min on the day of Ghadir, it is as if he has fed all of the anbiya, all of the awliya, all of the awsiya. He feeds one mu'min on the day of Ghadir. I don't let anyone come to my doorstep, let alone inside, and then feed them on top. I'm afraid. And some of this, we've created in our own minds. No, I don't want to let anyone in my house. I'll get nazar. I'll get ayn on my things. Everybody, they'll start looking, and then my life will... This is just that miserliness that is manifesting. It's manifesting in different ways. The miser's existence is extremely lonely. From amongst one of those sins that exposes a person in front of people, one of them is miserliness, but miserliness specifically with one's family. Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salam has this tradition where he lists the number of sins that expose a person, that remove the curtains in front of a person and expose them towards to the world and to the people. One of those things that the Imam says is the sin that exposes a person in public. وَالْبُخْلِ عَلَى الْأَهْلِ وَالْوَلَدِ وَذِي الْأَرْحَامِ, says the one that is bakhil, that is a miser with his family, with his children, and with his blood relatives. I don't want to give. I don't want to spend on my wife. I don't want to spend on my children. I don't want to spend on my family members. So it's the one that becomes bakhil with his own family. Allah will expose him, expose his sins to the world. One that is bakhil with his own family. We have people, oh no, my husband says, no, we can't do this, he doesn't let me spend any money. Or, oh yeah, my father, he doesn't like us spending money, he gets really upset. And some people, for them, it hurts them. I've spoken to some people who suffer from this disease of bukhl. They say it hurts when I have to spend money. Says when I give it, I just have to give it quickly and then just walk away. Because it hurts me seeing how they're spending. Some don't even get to the stage of giving. They just hold on to it. But then when they get to the stage of giving, then they're accounting for every penny. Where did you spend that $5 I gave you? What did you do with it? Says the one that is bakhil with his family, with his children, with his blood relatives. Says that individual will be exposed. by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he says in one of the narrations, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, says a man should have three things in his home. A man, the person that is the man of the house, he should possess three things when he's inside that house. The first, good akhlaq. Good akhlaq. He meets with his family members with the best of akhlaq. Sometimes we have people who are amazing outside with everyone. But when they go home, it's like shimmer is in the house. Everybody wants to walk away. I don't want anything to do with my father. Because he'll snap. He'll criticize. He's cranky. He's had a long day at work. Oh, he's going to find some sort of fault. The Holy Prophet, after one of his battles, his companion Sa'ad is killed in the battle. Shaheed in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Holy Prophet comes. He recites Salat al-Mayyit over him. He digs the grave. He buries him with his own hands. He covers and makes the grave with his own hands. He does dua for him. The mother comes and she sits by the grave. She says, glad tidings of Jannah be upon you, my son. The Holy Prophet says, be quiet. Your son is currently facing the adhab of the qabr. She says, Ya Rasulullah, how is it possible? Shaheed in the way of Allah. You buried him. He was your companion. You did dua for him. You recited Salat al-Mayyit and still adhab. The Prophet says, yes, for me, with me, he was a great companion. He did everything. But at home, he was harsh to his wife and his children. He's receiving adhab right now. Three things every man must have in his house. Good akhlaq. The second thing, sakhawa. He must be open-hearted. Sakhi. He must give. Not be a miser. Should allow them to use the money that he earns. And the third thing, ghaira. Must have this ghira, this ghairat, this level of chivalry within him. All three of these are in short supply nowadays. Especially this matter of ghaira. I don't care who's coming, who's sitting with my namus, who's coming in and out. Nowadays, la ilaha illallah. I should say it or not. We have this culture amongst the new young couples. We're going to go on a double date. My wife and me and his wife and him, and we're all going to sit together. You know how many divorce cases I've had to deal with because of this? Because the grass is always greener on the other side. Or did you see how he was treating his wife? Or did you see how she was speaking with her husband? You don't speak to me like that. Why invite the fitna into your home? What is the need? There's no need. There is this social hijab, there is a physical hijab that has been prescribed to you by Allah. Let the ladies sit with the ladies, let the men sit with the men. What do you need to go bowling together for? And we even consider at times, like, what would the Imam do? Would I invite Imam to this gathering? This gathering of where I'm just laughing and joking and we're making fun of each other. It's inviting fitna. A man must have ghaira in his home. That ghaira towards his namus. And that ghaira extends when he goes to the house of another. Luqman says to his son, my son, remember three things. One of the things that he says, إِذَا كُنْتَ فِي بَيْتِ الْغَيْرِ فَاحْفَظْ عَيْنَيْكَ, says when you find yourself in the house of another man, control your eyes. Don't look towards his namus. Don't look towards his possessions. Three things a man needs in his home: good akhlaq, sakhawa, generosity, and ghaira. Without them, it's a difficult life. The miser lives a lonely existence. No one speaks good about the miser. Nobody ever speaks good about the miser. They always say when, you talk about going to eat food with a miser, people will always say, oh yeah, make sure he pays. Make sure he pays. Are you going out with him? Whoa, you're brave. Make sure he pays. You travel with them, and say, oh, be careful. Or if you go to their house, you're going to go to his house, you're going to starve. He's not going to give you anything. You're lucky if you get a glass of water in their house. It's a really bad spiritual disease to have the one of miserliness. In fact, in the Holy Quran where Shaitan is saying that, Ya Allah, I'm going to attack them from the left and the right and in front of them and from behind them. The attack, the Imam, the fifth Imam, he says that the attack from the behind, because each of these angles have a different sin or a different way that Shaitan will attack you. Like from the front, he'll make you forget and take your akhirah lightly. You won't think about it. From the right, he'll give you doubts on the religion. From the left, he'll make your desires overpower you. But the one from the back is that he will inspire you to amass wealth, to become a miser, and focus on your children and your inheritors. This is something that is slightly more nuanced in its understanding. Because you see that people say, oh no, I'm doing this for my children, so tomorrow they can be okay. So tomorrow my children will be fine. So tomorrow my children won't have to struggle. I'm going through all of this for my children. But you see where the problem is with that statement. It was never you in the first place. It was never you. It is never going to be you. When you are the custodian of the wealth of another, that means your children. That was their rizq. That was what was written for them to receive from your hands. You are not the provider. And so what Shaitan does is he scares a person into thinking, I need to hoard, what's going to happen to my children? Forget the poor children in Gaza, forget the poor children in Yemen, forget the poor children that are everywhere. My children, I don't want to give. Because what will happen to my children after me? It's a sign of the miser. But generosity, it brings izzah. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, Al-Jud harithul a'raz. Says, generosity brings honor, brings izzah to a person. You look at the person that is generous, even if he doesn't have wealth, he opens his home, he invites people, he feeds people, he does various things. People love that individual. They respect that individual. Because even though he has no social status per se, but because of his open heart, his generosity, people are attracted towards him. So generosity brings that honor. And so we've looked at two lines from this hadith. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll carry on. The Imam says, do not carry the sorrows of the day that is to come over the day that you are in. And the second thing is that know that you will not gain more than your appointed sustenance unless you are the custodian of it for someone else. What is yours will reach you. Don't break your back over it. Don't lose your children over it. Don't destroy your homes over it. Because Allah is the one that will ultimately give. Understand that it was never yours. You are never in control of it. And when you can realize this, then you can transcend beyond these material connections. When you realize that it's not mine, and that's okay, that I can let go. And then I turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then things become easier. But let me give you a dhikr to help you along the way. Something that you can do practically in those times of anxiety, in those times of difficulty. Every day, at least 3 times or 10 times. Not but recite this dhikr 3 times or 10 times. Put your head into sajda. 3 times or 10 times recite the dhikr of Hazrat Yunus. La ilaha illa ant. Subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. Imagine Yunus alayhi salam in the darkness of the belly of the whale. He doesn't know what's happened. He doesn't know why it's happened. All he knows is that they hit a storm and the boat was too heavy and the people told him, you need to jump. You drew the short lot. He jumped into the water swimming along. A whale comes, consumes him. He's thinking, what a bit of rotten luck. He's in the belly of the whale, darkness. How am I going to get out? He's tried everything, banging on the belly of the whale, trying to do something to get out. Eventually he realizes that there's only one way out. La ilaha illa ant. Subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. At this point he doesn't know that he's done anything wrong. He doesn't know what tarke awla he's done. All he knows is that there is only one being that can save me from this place where there is no salvation. And that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so he turns to Allah. فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ وَنَجَّيْنَاهُ. And so we answered and we saved him. So whenever you find yourselves in those dark times, turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with this dhikr. And see how Allah shows you the light and brings the light of tawakkul into your hearts. These ayyam are still the ayyam of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. We remember Imam al-Hasan. Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, his link with Karbala is deep. Not just through Abu Abdullah, but Imam al-Hasan had 5 children, 5 sons in Karbala. Hasan al-Muthanna, Hasan ibn al-Hasan, the eldest. The second son was a son by the name of Amr ibn al-Hasan. The next son was Abdullah al-Akbar, also known by the title of Abu Bakr ibn al-Hasan. The fourth son was Qasim ibn al-Hasan. Abu Bakr ibn al-Hasan or Abdullah al-Akbar was 16 years old on the day of Ashura. Qasim ibn al-Hasan and then Abdullah ibn Hasan. These 5 sons of Imam al-Hasan, 4 of them lost their lives on the day of Ashura. 1 survived, Hasan Muthanna. Hasan Muthanna is also married to the daughter of Imam al-Hussein, Fatima al-Kubra. Hasan Muthanna is injured on the day of Ashura and they think that he's died. But after Sham Ghariban, he regains consciousness. And so they take him as a prisoner, tend to his wounds, and he then returns back to Medina with the Usara. But I want to remember that one son of Imam al-Hasan who we don't often remember. All the other sons of Imam al-Hasan on the day of Ashura had some recollection of their father. Amr ibn al-Hasan, Abdullah al-Akbar, he was 16, so he was 6 when Imam al-Hasan left this world. Hatta even Qasim was 13 on the day of Ashura. When Imam al-Hasan left this world, he was 3. But this youngest son of Imam al-Hasan, he was just newly born when Imam al-Hasan left this world. And so Abdullah ibn Hasan on the day of Ashura was only 10 years old. This boy, all he knew all his life is that Aba Abdullah is his father. He saw Imam al-Hussein as his father. Imam al-Hussein raised the orphans of al-Hasan alayhi salam. And so when one by one all of the shuhada had gone out and Aba Abdullah was all alone, and finally Imam al-Hussein himself went to the battlefield. And you hear he went out, he fought, calling out every now and then to each of his companions, Ya Abtal al-Safa wa ya Fursan al-Hayja, Mali unadikum fala tujibun. Says, oh my brave soldiers, my brave warriors, where are you? Will you not reply to me? Will you not come and see your master's battle? Ya Habib, Ya Burayr, where are you? All of you, Muslim ibn Awsaja, come see how your master is now fighting. Eventually the Imam is struck and he falls from the running horse to the ground. A moment that your Imam mentions in Ziyarat Nahiya, says, Hawaita ila al-ardi jarihan tata'uka al-khuyulu bihawafiriha. That Hussein, when you fell from the earth injured and the horses trampled your body as you lie on the earth, Aba Abdullah lay there unable to move. They would come and attack Imam al-Hussein. At one point they say Abi Abdullah sat up, and there he was being surrounded by these individuals. Out of the corner of his eye, Imam al-Hussein's eye was constantly fixed upon the tents of Zainab. Imam al-Zaman says in Ziyarat Nahiya as well, he says that even though you were lying on the burning sands of Karbala, but you tudiru tarfan khafiyan ila rahlika wa baytik. The ghairah of Hussein was such that his focus was on Zainab and Kulthum. His focus was on his tents and his namus. When Imam al-Hussein is there, at that moment the Maqdal says, a young boy came running out of the tents. He grabbed hold of a broken tent pole. Zainab alayha salam tried to hold on to the boy. Imam al-Hussein, seeing him coming, he called out, Zainab, Zainab, hold on to the boy. She tried to hold him, but he breaks free. He runs out. At that moment there's a man who is trying to strike the head of Abu Abdullah with a sword. This young boy Abdullah ibn Hasan comes out. He says, oh Maloon, will you try and kill my uncle? He goes forward to try and strike him. His arm comes in the way. This man strikes the arm of Abdullah ibn Hasan. This 10-year-old boy, his arm is severed from his body. He falls to the ground. Oh uncle, they've killed me. Abu Abdullah takes him into his lap. He says, Ya Bunay, isbir qaleel. Oh my son, be patient for a short while, for soon you will meet your father and grandfather. At that point Harmala takes aim towards this young boy lying in the lap of Abu Abdullah. Sa'adallahu qalbaka ya Abu Abdullah. He fires an arrow into the neck of the boy, killing him in the lap of Abu Abdullah. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. مات من حسين.